Greetings and welcome to Pete on the Street. For the next 30 minutes, please join us for a collection of on-location segments and in-studio interviews that'll prove that everyone's got a story. Be sure to tune in for guests bringing important news from our community for everyone from children to seniors. And please join us in saying thank you for your service to our veterans and active duty military and first responders, including police, fire, and EMTs. And join Pete on location throughout Taunton, New England, and around the globe as he checks off destinations from his bucket list. You never know who you'll meet with Pete on the Street. And now you've heard of the POTUS. You've heard of the FLOTUS. Well, here's the POTS. Pete on the Street, your host, Peter Mozzone.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, this is Pete on the Street, and this is the second take for this show. We're going to leave the first take for the blooper reel. We'll show you that one later. But I have a very special friend with me today, and I say friend because the minute I met this guy, he was a friend. And he is Joel, the real deal Davis. He is a former professional wrestler, a New England champion. I tell you, this guy is the real deal. He is getting into a new career. He is a stand-up comic, but before I introduce you to him, I got to tell you, he was a two-time guest on the Jerry Springer Show. Okay, now, I don't know if he was a two-timer, but he was a two-timer guest on the Jerry Springer Show, and not everybody gets to get on that crazy show, but he had a really good showing. Now, Joel, good to have you here, man.
Hey, Pete, thanks for having me back, man. It's so great to be back.
And you know, bam, love you, man.
Yeah, I love you too.
You know, I don't have my usual suit on this week because we're going to talk about comedy, funny stuff. I'm going to try to be funny. Joel is always funny. But, oh, by the way, Joel, do you like my shirt? My wife got it for me. I came home early one day when it was on the back of a chair.
Oh, you gotta love that shirt. It's great, nice and colorful. Fits you nice.
And you know, I always wanted to win the Nobel Prize. I wanted so bad I could kill for it.
Oh yeah.
But hey, let's take a look at this image here. I want to introduce you folks to the new Pete on the Street logo. Now, I took into account, of course, the name of the show, Pete on the Street. It says TCAM TV down along the bottom there. But I love Taunton heritage, Taunton history. It takes into account our landmark courthouse down in the Taunton Green. We had a great heritage of, we were an inland seaport. The coastal schooners would come up the Taunton River, load up, take product out to sea, deliver it all up and down the East Coast, and we were famous for building railroad locomotives. So we're going to try to incorporate this logo into some gifts that we can give to our guests. Like if you zoom in on this again, there, Walter, we've got this great coffee mug that was given to me by my friend Cody Thespian from the Paranormal Couple. You know, this got me thinking. You know, he brought me a gift. I'm going to start making some coffee mugs to give to my guests. So stay tuned for that. But now, Joel, tell me about, you know, here you are. Here's a great picture of you, real deal Davis, New England champion. Oh, yeah. Let's reminisce for a little bit about not boxing, but wrestling.
Well, actually, it's funny you said boxing because I started in boxing first.
Oh, you did?
I started with the late, great Chick Rose, who brought some athletes to the United States Olympics. I started with Chick Rose in 1990 boxing, and then I started with Killer Kowalski pro wrestling in '91, February '91. So I was in both sports in the early '90s.
Yeah.
You know, pro wrestling is a sport. It's entertainment. It's all in one, and
yes.
it's a tough business / sport. And I was blessed enough to be able to run from '91 right through 2003.
Yep.
I retired in 2003 as champion. I was the television champion of Universal Championship Wrestling in 2003. I retired with the championship.
Yep.
And went into a little more of the family life. My daughter was born in 2005. You know, my wife at the time was a little bit nervous about the injuries and et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
And I retired prematurely in 2003.
Okay.
2009, I got divorced, and I made a comeback.
There you go.
I came back into pro wrestling, and I ran from 2009 up until 2014, and that's when I started mixed martial arts cage fighting.
Here's a great picture of you in action. And,
I know you had that one.
And another thing, but I want to talk about your community service. Now, I got to thank you for your community service. Now, you did this. You and I did this show. This was our second show together. We did a special over at the Taunton YMCA. You were teaching these kids how to deal with bullies, you know. And I tell you, no man is as tall as one who bends to help a child. Okay, and teaching these kids how to deal with bullies. I mean, that's a genuine public service. I got to thank you for that.
Oh, thank you, Pete, for mentioning it. I don't always mention it, but yes, I did motivation speaking for approximately 4 years,
Yep.
Mostly geared towards children, also some senior citizens. I spoke on staying fit and living your dream, and also anti-bullying and self-defense.
Right.
That's what I spoke about.
Because seniors can get bullied too, you know. Here you are with here you are with the old Mozzone. Our mayor, Shauna O'Connell, you and Walter, our great tech guy here, our program director here.
That photo looks like it was taken at the anti-bullying and self-defense at the YMCA.
And this was so long ago, color film hadn't been invented
Yeah,
yet.
we go way back. I had hair then. I really know.
Hey, Joel, tell me about how do you transition into comedy?
From the professional wrestling
Yes.
world, motivation speaking, and I got into stand-up comedy because I just love everything about it, and the more I learn about it, the more experience I get with it, the more I have more passion for it, and I've met so many great people so far, and I continue to work with some great talented comedians in the audience, and I always wanted to get in for years and years, but just time wasn't my time.
Right.
Because pro wrestling and the boxing, and then I got the mixed martial arts. It tied up a lot of my time.
Yes.
Quite frankly, training and et cetera. And I ended up eventually saying to myself, you know what? My daughter's getting older now. She's going to be 18 years old. I don't really have much family. I'm a single guy. And I said, you know what? I said, let me see what I can do about getting into this stand-up comedy now. Time waits for no one.
Right.
I'm not getting any younger. And I said, you know what? I said, let me talk. So I talked to a gentleman over at a venue over at Copperfields.
Yes, in Rhode Island.
In Rhode Island, a
Yes.
doorman over there, a good friend of mine, Bobby Nicholson.
Okay.
And he suggested and talked very highly of Mr. John Perrotta. John
Yes.
Perrotta, the Italian Don Rickles of comedy. I heard so much about John. I had never met him.
Yeah.
But I did call him that same night that Bobby told me about John.
Yeah.
I left a voice message for him on a Friday night. The next day, I got a message from Stephen DiNuccio, who takes care of the open mics.
Yes,
And
yes.
that was in October of last year.
Steve is going to be on our show in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, he's a great
Oh,
guy, very
wonderful
talented guy. He's a multi-talented guy.
We had a great interview.
And Steve, just so you know, if you're watching the show, I don't care what anybody says about you, you're a good guy. So I got my first shot November 1st last year. I did an open mic.
Nice.
And it was in Johnson, Rhode Island at Copperfields, which I kind of call my home team advantage over there. It seems like they like me a bit over there. I did my second show there.
So the business is open to newcomers.
Well, open mics are open to anyone that wants to sign up.
Okay.
You get a hold of Mr. Stephen DiNuccio and you get signed up, or you show up early enough to sign up for the open mics. They're running 4 open mics a week there in Rhode Island right now.
So then, from that point, you show enough talent that they invite you back.
Well, yeah, John said I had a lot of potential that night, which made me feel really good, and then I got to work one of the paid ticket shows, which was at Johnson, Rhode Island, back at Copperfields, and it was a dinner and a comedy show in one, and I went up on stage at that show, and. John thought I did pretty well. I thought I did all right, and a lot of the comedians gave me, a good thumbs up. And I said, I'm going to keep on trying to chase it down. And now we're going into, February of 2023, and I'm still at it. I got some upcoming dates coming up. I'm looking forward to it. I love stand-up comedy, and you got to remember too, stand-up comedy and pro wrestling has a lot of similarities that people don't realize. Now I know because I've done both now.
Right.
It's you have a time. You have a meeting before you're getting out there.
You're in front of the crowd.
You're in front of the crowd. You're there to please the fans.
Right.
To make sure that they're having a great evening out.
Now, in wrestling, sometimes you get hecklers. Sometimes the hecklers are planted, I think.
Yeah, but you get hecklers in comedy too.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. Do you get hecklers?
Well, yeah, we get some. Everybody gets hecklers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just have to learn how to deal with it and and keep it as professional as possible when they're yelling out different things.
You know, a different type of humor, but slapstick humor. The Three Stooges. I'm a big Three Stooges guy,
Yeah.
and Mo Howard, who was originally, I think his name was Maurice Howowitz.
Yeah.
He changed it to Mo Howard.
Yeah.
He started out working for a guy named Ted Healy as a stooge,
Yeah.
which was a plant in the audience who would jump up and yell something at the guy on stage,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So I've always wanted to be one of the Three Stooges, but I don't know if I could ever make it.
Well,
But
well, it's okay. I mean, you can, you know what I mean? You kind of look like one of them. I mean, a little bit.
I'd have to
You could
shake
look
my
a little
head.
Like, yeah. But I got to share, if I got to share a
Yes.
real funny story,
Please do.
because I hope some of my fellow stand-up comedians do catch this show.
Yeah.
And and I'll mention these names. It's just it was my second gig in
Okay.
stand-up comedy. John Perrotta's Comedy Factory.
Yeah.
John Perrotta's presentation, and it was in Johnson, Rhode Island. It was
Okay.
my second time going on stage. We had a great crowd. We always have great crowds for
Yeah.
the shows. And on that particular show there, Mike Cronin, who's known as the man with the light, you know, he also
Right.
can like show you the light. He's a very knowledgeable guy. He was
Okay.
a former bad boy of comedy, and now he just basically turned good.
Oh, I see.
And now he uses the light. He tells you when your time's up. So this
Oh,
is
I
a
see.
funny story I
Oh,
want to
okay.
share.
Yep.
And I got such a kick out of it. And again, I'm still new. I was real new then, but I'm still new now. I'm still a rookie.
well,
but
we're always learning.
we're always learning, and I just listen to instruction. I try to do the best job I can. I'm very, happy and fortunate enough, and I appreciate opportunities that I get to do stand-up.
Right.
So I just did what I was told. So
Right.
now I'm I'm sitting at a table like where you are right
Right.
here. There's a table here, and Mike Cronin is staying where you are.
Okay.
Now Mike Cronin's got the list like you have
Yeah,
here.
okay.
He's going over with who's on the lineup that afternoon at the Copperfields.
Okay.
And he's looking it over, and he says, "Everybody over," because we all get together, and he
Right.
does like a quick meeting.
Yeah, a little pep
And,
talk.
yeah, everybody come over. So I'm standing over here.
Yeah.
A few other comedians are over here. And at the bar, which is right here.
Right.
Now this is Mike Cronin.
Yeah,
The bar is
the
right
bar,
here.
yeah.
Brian Vincent, who plays Grandma Martha, he's hilarious, is talking with Rockin' Joe Hebert. Rockin' Joe Hebert is one of the best. He really is, in all ways. Gotta love Joe Hebert. I love that guy. So Joe Hebert's talking with Brian Vincent. They're talking. Mike Cronin's over here.
Yeah.
He's going over like the information. Okay, so this is what we got. We're going on time. Blah blah. So Mike Cronin says to me,
Yeah.
he says, "Joe, tell Joe Hebert to get over. Tell Joe to get over here." So Joe can hear him yelling.
Right.
So Joe looks over at me, and I said, "Joe," I'm looking at him like, "Joe, Mike wants you to come over here so you can hear what's going on." Joe says to me, "You tell him I can hear him from over here." I said, "Mike, he says he can hear you from over there."
This is almost like Who's on First.
I thought it was like an interpreter or something. I'm like, "You guys can hear each other." I mean, I don't know if it was a test.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I
Oh,
did what I
man.
was told to
That's
do.
funny. So I understand you get a lot of your humor from daily experiences and memories.
Real life experiences,
Yes.
Peter. I mean, let me tell you something. I studied a little bit about comedy. Comedy goes way back to the Ringling Barnum and Bailey Circus
Yeah.
with the clowns and the frown. And it's a lot of sad things that really happen in your life, and people get a kick out of it. They
Yes,
really do.
yes.
And I've had a lot of sad things happen in my life, and they became kind of comical.
Yeah.
But I've had so much experience in my life,
Yes.
with everything that I've done
Stuff
and
you-
everything that I've seen.
Stuff you can't just make up.
You just can't make it up. And there's so much that I have that I want to bring to the stage, and I try to bring something new to every gig that I come
Yeah.
up to, and try to have the people relate to what I'm speaking about. And real life stuff. I keep it real and raw.
Yeah.
And some people get it, some people don't, but I think most people do get it.
Yeah.
Because one thing I do, Pete, on all my
Well,
gigs.
don't do here.
I'm not doo-doo here. No doo-doo here. Is I do bring
we having fun
real
yet?
real life stories to the stage, and some of the stuff's freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
It really is.
yeah,
And-
yeah.
yeah.
You know, like my mother-in-law came over for dinner the other night,
Mm-hmm.
and she started to complain. She says, "Why is your dog staring at me?" I said, "Well, you're eating out of his dish." Bada boom.
All right, there you go. I mean, don't quit your day job, Pete.
Oh my God. Now I understand you've got a new a new, not a new logo, but a new trademark. The one-legged.
Well, you must have heard about it.
I heard about the one-legged woo-woo.
No, the one-legged woot.
Oh, well, how does that work? How does that work, Joel?
The one-legged woot is something that I created for all the paid shows.
Okay.
So meaning paid shows, meaning people are buying tickets to see these comedy shows,
Yes.
John Perrotta Comedy Factory presentations, and I brought it in back in last year. It was my second gig. It was in November of 2022, and I brought it in, and it meant a lot to me. And I try to explain to the people what it means.
Okay.
And the woot woot is basically be yourself, be who you are, shoot for the stars,
Yep.
make your life count. Because everybody dies, but not everybody lives. We get one
True,
chance
very
at this.
true.
We're here for not a long time, for a good time. So this is my woot woot
Okay.
to the crowd before I stop my stand-up, is basically telling everyone, hey, go for it.
All
Go
right.
for your life. Do what you got to do. Be who you are. Doesn't matter what you are, your sexuality, what you look like,
Yep.
where you come from. Doesn't matter. Just be who you are. Be real. Because at the end of the day, that's what counts. Because that's all I wish for is I want to die real.
Yes.
And so that woot woot is what I'm telling the people. And some people have given me feedback and they said, seeing the woot woot live, there's nothing like it. They can feel the energy out of the woot woot. It's a one-legged woot woot.
And can you do it for us now?
You know what? I think I can. Can you introduce me and I'll do
Yes.
it right here for the show.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, live for now at TCAM TV, we have Joel Real Deal Davis, stand-up comic, two-time guest on the Jerry Springer Show with his two-time
Former champion
wrestler.
Can I get a woo woo? You see what I'm saying?
Yes,
See what I'm saying? Now that you feel the energy out
I
of that?
did. Yes.
You know, I have to exercise to keep the balance on that one.
Oh my God, live.
Yeah.
I mean, right? You saw it here. You saw it here at TCAM TV.
There's nothing like seeing it live, though. You see it on television, folks. Come on down and see
my
it live.
God, yes, man. You know, there's a lot of good news in the world. You know, the other day I was reading in the paper where they say the average lifespan of the average American is 74 and a half years, right? And that's really good, really good news unless you're 74.
Well, yeah. Hey, you know,
But I won't give up my day job.
no, but you know, it's true though. I think people should just, you know, and again, going back to the stand-up comedy, everybody's who they are. No one judges anyone. We all have different personas. We all accept each other.
Yeah.
And I really, and another thing I like about it is you can be original.
Right.
And in this day and age in 2023, with everything going on, it's just so corrupt with people trying to, you know, tell you this is the way you live, this is what you do, this is what you don't do, this is how you vote, this is how you go about your life. No, listen.
Yeah.
You got to, you know what I mean? Live your life because that's your life to live.
Right.
You know, and stand-up comedy, you bring your act to the stage,
Yeah.
and that's your act. And you get your time. You might get, 7 minutes. You might be lucky enough to get 9. Whatever you get for time, that's your time, and you make it count. No one's telling you, all right, this is what you got to do. Boom, boom, boom. And it's an art. Stand-up
Right.
comedy is an art. It's
Yes.
not just telling a joke. This one line of jokes or whatever.
You have to get the timing. Yeah.
And you got to know your audience too.
Oh
I
yeah.
think. I mean,
Okay. And
so.
can you play off the audience, like notice something, or get a remark and respond back to the audience?
It's a dangerous game when you start playing with the audience. You
Oh,
never
okay.
know how they're going to react. You can
Yeah,
make people a little angry sometimes too.
Oh,
you know,
man.
and then they don't want to laugh. And it just depends on what our audience are. You know, I mean, we have all different audiences at the stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, and if we have any kind of competition, like if there's a game playing on the television, or if it's a show that they don't expect to be coming
Right,
in that
yeah,
day
yeah.
or whatever, they're like, well, what the heck is going on? You know, if
Yeah.
you're at, like I did one show at the Comedy Park in Cranston, Rhode Island. That crowd was like John Perrotta would say, that crowd was electric. You know,
Yeah.
Comedy Park, because everyone went there to see comedy.
Right.
And it just the aurora. As soon as I walked in that building, I just knew it was going to be a good night. And it was a good night for all of us. We all feed off each other. If one guy has a good set, the other guy comes up, he's more apt to have a good set.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because we're
Oh,
all
okay.
We're all
It builds.
We're all one show
Yeah.
together.
I see.
You see what I'm saying?
Now, I want to thank you for coming back. It's been 3 years. We got a slide here of when we were together the last time, And back after 3 years, and you gave me that autographed picture of you from your professional wrestling
Did you
days.
sell it yet, or did you keep it?
Well, I'm never going to sell it. I've got it hanging up in my bathroom.
Okay, I want to make sure you didn't. Oh, in your bathroom. Oh, that's great. Oh, yeah. I know what you think of me now, man.
Uh-oh. But what I wanted to get to is
Who's this chick?
comedy. This is Roseanne Barr. Now, she's one of the greats.
Oh, yeah, yeah, I
okay,
know the
she
name.
is funny. Okay, and she's doing a new comedy special where she doesn't want the woke cancel culture to kill comedy. You know, do you ever get into any areas of comedy that are offensive or just on the edge of being offensive?
I mean, I had one situation so far. Again, I'm still new. I'm only 4 months in.
Yeah.
I have my experiences. I'm just trying to take any gig that I can get, and I'm trying to gain experience. And a lot of these other folks, these gentlemen and ladies that I'm working with, have a lot more experience than I do. So I'm sure they have a lot more stories. But I know one in particular. One night in West Warwick, Rhode Island, I called somebody out on a mask.
I see.
And some people loved it, some people didn't. I just said I'm not politically.
mask,
I'm not trying
okay.
to be politically
Right.
correct. I'm being who I am.
Right.
And
Yeah.
basically goes with the persona. Joel Davis. So when I'm on stage or when I was in the ring, my persona is just magnified times 10.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said, some people know how to take it, some people don't. But that incident with the mask, maybe I did go a little too far with it. You know, I didn't mean to offend anybody, but it is a comedy show.
Right.
And if you come in the middle of the night at 10 o'clock, in the middle of my set,
Yeah.
with the mask over your face and almost your eyes, you come walking through.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, that was, I mean, I
was
couldn't
an
miss it.
it was an
I couldn't miss
opportunity,
it.
yes.
I mean, I'm
Yep.
like, geez, it's just like, I mean, it's like a red flash right there in
Yep.
front of me. If I didn't call that out, then I wouldn't be doing my job, I don't
Right,
think.
right. You know, you had mentioned we talked about audiences. Now, I was a car salesman, which is funny.
Oh, yeah?
You know, that's funny
How'd you do?
as it is. I was good.
Yeah.
I was good. I did it. I had 2 kids in college. I worked at Reed and Barton, Silversmiths all day. I went out to the car lot nights and weekends. I kept
Yeah,
up
I don't
with-
trust car salesmen.
No, I kept up with the full-time guys. Well, we don't lie. We massage information.
Just half what you say is a lie, the other half don't believe. Car salesmen, insurance, banks, I
Yeah.
don't trust any of you.
But my point is, you've got. It might be different on stage. You might have a little bit longer, but when you walk out on that lot, if you can't get somebody to like you in the first, say, minute,
Oh, yeah, well, it's similar. Yeah.
you know,
You're going out there. It's about the people.
Yes.
You know what I mean? If the people, they're gonna tell you. You're gonna know if they like you in the first minute in
Right.
stand up. I think, anyways.
and you know, I don't know if this happens in the stand-up comedy business, but I would walk out onto the lot. I had quite a few years into the business, about 12 or so, and you walk out and you can right off the bat tell the guy's a grouch. Okay, the guy's a grouch. He doesn't like you. I always carried a clipboard, and I would say, well, you know, I'm sorry, I'm working on a customer on this particular Jeep. I have to take the stock number, but I'm going to go in and tell Billy to come out and see you. Right, so I'd go in and, you know, Billy or Bobby, whoever the new guy was, I'd say, hey, Billy,
There you go.
there's a guy out there asking for you. And he'd run out like a puppy and get stroked without mercy.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't spend my time on the guy.
Yeah. Because you experienced, you know what you were doing, and you know, and so you just sent someone out that had no chance.
But I could, we should get together and do a skit about car salesmen. Boy, that is a funny business.
Oh yeah, well, you know, I mean, I just, you know, like I told you, I think that most of you guys are crooked.
Yeah.
I mean, almost all of you guys are crooked.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know, but you know, like, going back to the stand-up comedy, I mean,
Yes,
you
yes.
got to understand that this is. People want to laugh, especially after all that happened with the pandemic. People
I
want to get
know.
out and laugh. I
Yes.
think 2023 is going to be a big year for stand-up comedy. I really do.
Oh, I know.
I mean, I think it's hot as a pistol. A lot of the local shows, I watch everything that's going on social media. I follow everything because I want to know what everybody's doing. I want to see what they're doing. I want to learn. And I'm seeing a lot of these shows are selling out. And there's so much talent in this part of the country, Massachusetts, Rhode Island.
Yes.
There's a lot of talent out there. And I've had the pleasure to be able to work with a lot of these stand-up comedians.
Rhode Island, you're right. Rhode Island has a good comedy scene. It really does now.
Well, I think it's on top of the game. My
Yes,
humble opinion.
yes.
I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, you get like you said, you got John Prada, the Italian Don Rickles.
Yeah.
I mean, he debuted back in '91.
Okay.
I mean, and a story with John too, I want to mention on the show today is he was a guy that started before '91. He started in the later '80s, and he didn't do so well. He came back in '91. He started at the old Periwinkles in Rhode Island. He started getting a little momentum, but no one would give him a chance. No one would give him a chance to get up and get some mic time. And he never forgot that, and that's what he does now. He gives these rookies, these people that have the urge to they have that ambition to try stand up.
Right.
John Prada is the guy to give them the chance. Some guys he's given a chance have went somewhere.
Oh, I'll bet.
He's
I'll
had
bet.
some big names, including Bill Blur and Molly, Bob Molly.
Oh, really?
That both were with John Prada at one time.
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I've heard-
So,
yeah,
but there's a lot of good names out there, and those, I mean, they're good shows. And again, it's not easy. Stand-up comedy's not easy, but we love all the fans that come out. Anybody that comes out to watch the shows and enjoy the comedy, we appreciate anyone that comes out. We really do.
You are right on the edge of inspiring me to put my foot in the water, because I used to do it not on a professional level, of course, like you, but with my buddies in college.
Okay.
We would have a roast, and we would pick one guy to roast, and we'd all make up jokes about him. Like I used to say about my friend Joe Patno, and I'd say, he's got arthritis in his hands from picking up all that wet change at bars, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And a buddy of mine got married, and he asked me to tell jokes at his bachelor party.
Yeah. You got thrown out? Did you get thrown out?
No, I kept telling jokes. They kept feeding me drinks. I fell down, and the show was over.
All right, there you go. You're all right, Pete. You're doing all right. I think you're busy enough doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
one of my late father's lines was, I'm not doing too bad for a kid with worms. But
I don't know.
Hey. when you got to make people laugh. And I can tell, I mean, you are a wonderful guy. You love people. You work with people. And what more can you do for somebody than make them laugh?
Well, that's the thing. And you got to remember something. Right now, I'm here on Pete on the Street on this cable show. I'm not in stand-up comedy mode. You know what I mean?
Right.
When I do get back on stage,
you have to.
It's a whole
turn
different
it
ball
on,
game,
yes.
and that's the way I think all of us are that are in this field. But it's one of those things that you get up there, you perform. The laughter gives us the energy to continue. It's an all natural high to hear the people laugh. We love and again, I did the motivation speaking. That was enjoyable, but it's nothing like the stand-up comedy. All my time is that's my effort right now is a stand-up comedy.
And I didn't mean to put you on a spot to ask you to tell jokes or do a routine. And I didn't mean to try to rain on your parade by telling a few jokes here or saying some one-liners.
Well, I can tell you a real life story if you want.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
When I first started with John Parada, no one knew who I was, and I mean, I'm still an unknown pretty much. But I bring I think a different kind of flavor to the stage than some of the other comedians do. I've heard a lot of different people say they like my accent from Massachusetts, originally from New York. I mean, that's just. I'm not trying to bring that to the stage. That's just me. And you got to remember, I'm a former pro wrestler. I've been on the microphone. I've been on television shows, Springer included, ESPN, all that. I'm consider myself a pretty outgoing guy, and so I just say it how it is. So there's something in the comedy world called working clean.
1 minute.
Working clean. I work clean.
Yes.
I work clean. I take 2 showers before I get up on the stage every night. I've always worked clean. I don't know what the problem is with working clean. But I did hear something about some vulgarity that, they want to cut down the F-bomb.
Right.
So I've done it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I was working out in the gym just the other day, and I was doing abs with a 45-pound plate like this, and the 45-pound plate fell on my foot.
Oh.
So instead of yelling the F word,
Right.
I yelled fudge. And someone looked over at me, and they thought I had Tourette's or something, and I had a problem. I yelled fudge. Because they thought, I don't know what it was. So I don't know if that really works.
Yeah,
so,
I bet it will.
But Pete, what can we say?
Hey,
That's a true story.
I want to thank you so much for coming back. And this isn't going to be our last time together. But,
I hope not,
listen,
brother.
Love you, man.
I love you too, Pete. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it, man.
Stay
You're
funny.
a good guy.
Stay funny.
You're a good guy.
Thank you.
You're a good guy. But you know what he said after that?
What? Hey, 5 o'clock somewhere.
Thank you for watching Pete on the Street. This program is produced by Peter G. Pete on the Street Mozzone, who is solely responsible for its content. Views and opinions expressed on the show are solely those of Mr. Mozzone and his guests and do not reflect the views and opinions of TCAM TV, its management, or directors. Your comments about the show are welcome, or if you have an interesting story and would like to be considered for a future show, please reach out to Pete at peter.mazzone@verizon.net or like us at facebook.com/pgmazzone. Production coordinator is Walter Sabina. I'm Alicia Koulis, director of Pete on the Street. Thanks to TCAM TV and our guests for making this show possible.